It's kind of like Saturday Night Live. 6 counterintuitive things I learned from Warren Buffett. So what did he do differently than everyone else? You ever think about that? There's 7 billion people on this earth. Half of them are women. That means there are a lot of smart people on there. Half are stupid men. But let's just say even out of 3 billion, how has one of them been able to figure out this investing thing in front of everyone else? And that's what I'm here to solve today. 3 years ago, I went to his company board meeting because I own about $1,000 worth of his stock. And if you haven't seen his stock, like there's 2 shares, A, which is like 150,000, and then B, which is like 167. So I have a few of the 167. And so I got to hear this guy speak and I got to see his message, and it blew me away what he was able to do. And what he was able to recall at 80 years old, drinking cherry Coke and eating, I think, chocolate bonbons. So if you've ever been wondering, I started diagnosing and figuring out 6 things that he did differently to be able to become the best in the world at investing. So what I learned really surprised me. First off, he allocates more time to thinking and reading than doing. Does that sound not like you? Think about this. How much of your day are you actually spending time thinking about things, journaling, writing? I guess all the white people now meditate. Whatever it is, how much are you actually spending time thinking about that? Probably a lot less than you think. Warren spends the majority of his day reading. Okay, this is what you're doing over here. This is what the guy who's figured out something else is doing over here. So number 1, look at your calendar and think about how much are you actually spending time thinking. And today, commit to 10 minutes of thinking time. Number 2, he only plays in his safe zones. And when he calls it his circle of competence, or competence for the people in the Midwest. And so what exactly does that mean? Someone asked me to invest in a pizza restaurant 6 months ago. What do I know about opening a pizza restaurant? Nothing. What do I know about running a restaurant? Nothing. Do I know about eating pizza? Yeah. But how many people have you seen that say, I can figure out how a restaurant works, open it, and it fails? But how much do I know about running an internet business? A pretty good amount. I've been doing it 17 years. So Warren's recommendations is that he focuses only in his safe zone, only in his circle of competence. It doesn't mean you can't grow within that circle, but when the internet boom was happening, a lot of people said, Warren Buffett's dead. Well, he wasn't dead. Warren Buffett's old. Warren Buffett doesn't know what's happening. And then the crash happened. And it wasn't that he didn't do badly, but anyone could do well for a limited period of time. But to do well for 50 years consistently, there's something there where he stayed within a zone of knowledge and a zone of expertise. So for me, I spend my time and my money in the areas of internet, marketing, startups, and business, and also creating some of this content. So think about that for yourself. What is your circle of competence? How do you expand that and be an expert in that and not necessarily delve outside of it? Warren Buffett owns a lot of major companies. Geico, he owns a lot of American Express, a lot of Coca-Cola, a lot of Wells Fargo. He owns a lot of them, and he owns Geico outright. How many companies do you think he owns? Think about it. What would you guess? Hundreds, right? Thousands? Warren Buffett, with around 10 companies, has 90% of his net worth. Think about that. So a lot of us, we're told the message, divest, make sure that you have insurance, hedge your bets. What he's saying, I'm only telling you the counterintuitive things I've learned from listening and reading a lot of his stuff and seeing him in person, is that instead of spreading his eggs thin, he finds the winners and goes very aggressive with it and goes very deep with just those, and that's where he's made all of his money. If you're playing it wide, well, counterintuitively, this guy's gone super deep, and that's where he's made a lot of his money. Number 4, one of his favorite quotes of all time, and one that I think about often, is that when other people are greedy, be fearful. And when other people are fearful, be greedy. It's really easy when you see a house and you're like, oh, that's ugly, and everybody else sees an ugly house. And you're like, nah, that's not gonna work. It's the same thing with real estate when things are really great. Oh, I could buy anything and make money. And so he's generally the contrarian. When everyone's trying to buy, he holds. And when everyone's trying to sell, is when he buys. He bought, I think, BNSF, a huge railroad company, when the economy wasn't doing real well, and other things. And that's how he gets deals that makes a lot of money. So you've got to zag when everyone's zigging. And you kind of know that. So how do you actually recognize it so that's the moment? It's the next time that you're thinking, oh man, I've got to sell this stuff because I think things are going down. Maybe that's the time you should be buying more. Or if everyone's buying a lot, maybe you should hold off. One of my favorite things to joke about is that when people tell me they're great stock pickers. Do you know that guy or girl? They're like, man, I bought Apple stock and it doubled and I'm the best. And I was like, yeah, it's very easy to be a great stock picker when times are great. Be a great stock picker when times are bad. Be a great business owner when times are bad, when there's a recession. And so Warren is greedy when times are fearful, like a rabbit, and fearful when others are greedy. Number 5, what do you think Warren Buffett and Bill Gates' favorite word is? I was surprised when I heard this one. Both of them have the same favorite word, focus, or as they say in French, focus. But it is amazing that both of them have that same concept. In a day where attention is the highest commodity and it's your time, your attention is your highest valued thing. They think that focusing your time, focusing your attention on whatever it is, will help you create the success that you want to have. So think about that as you're doing your activities. If there's one thing you take away from this particular thing, when you're doing something, are you fully focused in doing it? In your business, in your relationships, in your health? And these guys who've done pretty well, I would say, they're in the top 5 of the whole 7 billion, have focused excessively well. And so they almost do it to a part that probably is scary. So are you focused really heavily in what you're trying to be an expert at or trying to be successful with? And think about that word for yourself, focus. And number 6, patience. About a year and a half ago, Chipotle stock went down by half. And I've been following Chipotle stock for about 5 years. So it went from $7.50 to $350. So Greedy Noah comes out, the best stock picker in the world, the best, and I bought $10,000 worth of Chipotle shares at $350. Within the next 2 weeks, it went up to $500. I went on to gloat about how great a stock picker I am. I'm like, I can pick any stock, it always goes up, I'm the best. 6 months later, Chipotle went back down to $375. And it actually went lower than I think the $350 I got it, or maybe I got it at $400. I ended up losing around $7,000 on Chipotle stock when I sold it. Chipotle now is back up to $470. I would have made $7,000 if I would have just been patient. It's easy to be successful for a minute or a day. It's easy to do a diet for a week or a month. But true success is sustainable. So you have to figure out things that you want to be doing and how can you be patient with what you are doing. So instead of always trying to figure things out for yourself, try to learn from the greats. And from an investing perspective, Warren Buffett is the greatest of all time. And actually, I would say a bonus one if you're still watching now, he actually makes more money owning the companies than buying the stocks. So he owns some stock and he owns some companies, but owning the company, actually, if you look at his balance statements and his profit and loss, generates the significant amount of money. Geico generates all the money that he's used to then go buy other companies. The actual money that he's gotten through stock appreciation is actually less than company ownership. So number 7, instead of buying the stock, you can make decent returns, but owning the company, you'll make great returns.